When I was told I had to speak tonight, I had no idea what I would talk about. I never responded to a call with lights and siren, never chased a bad guy, never arrested anyone. Not to worry. My job was never dull or boring.
Bill, you lost your speech. Come on, Bill.
So I'm inviting you to go along with me as I ramble down memory lane. The operative word here is ramble. In 35 years, I've gotten quite an education. You might say, I got an education money couldn't buy. So many things I can't possibly mention. I mean, I'm not allowed to mention them. I've read so many reports and heard so many stories from the guys' encounters. They've seen the best of human nature, the worst of human nature, and some downright bizarre acts. In one instance, I didn't even know a person would do that to himself. You call it auto what? I never saw that listed in the UCR code. When I was hired, the police department was in the basement of the bungalow we called the Township Building on Orchard Lane. Ralph Harner was chief of police, and we had 12 officers on the force. I was there just 6 months when Chief Harner died suddenly, and Paul Scharf was named chief. Paul was chief from 1976 until he retired in 1999, and Bob Adams served as chief from 1999 until December 2012. During the time I've been with the department, we lost 4 active duty officers to natural causes. Chief Ralph Harner, Sergeant Jim Ryan, Sergeant George Opelski, and Sergeant John Pascal. When we were located on Orchard Lane, Carol would bring Kelly and Beth by the office every once in a while. I think Beth was about 3 at the time. I'd put Beth on my lap so she could play on my typewriter, a portable Smith Corona, bought used from Elaine Adams, the district justice. Chief Mabry likes to remind me about the first radio call I gave him. I received a complaint about an elderly woman doing somersaults on her front lawn. I wasn't sure exactly how to give all the details of the complaint to him. I gave him the initial information, including the address, and hesitated. And then I thought I better get the rest of this information to him before he gets on location. I then keyed the mic and informed him she's not wearing underwear. Not exactly the kind of call every young officer is hoping for. Another radio call I'll never forget was when the county dispatched a holdup alarm at Progress Bank. Officer Mummy radioed that he was responding from Burnside Avenue. The other officer on duty was at a hearing. Chief Scharf hurried through my office and said, "I'll respond to it." I immediately called the bank to hear a hysterical voice answer their phone. All I could think of to say was, "The police are on their way." I then keyed the mic and informed the chief, "It's the real thing." Today we have 27 officers on the force. We hired our first female officer, Chris Touchstone, in 2001. Over the years, I observed that a couple of our new hires looked like they still had a little baby fat on their faces. I feel like I got to watch them grow up, and they got to watch me grow mature. In 1985, Joe Hallman and Bob Ardner were promoted to sergeant. Bob and Kay Ardner had a party at their home, and the whole department was invited.
I remember.
During the evening, I got a little too familiar with a new acquaintance called Old Granddad. At some point, I decided we should have a tush contest with the guys. I got about 8 of the guys to participate. I tried to get them to stand in a line, but by the time I got the last guy lined up, the first couple had turned around and were talking. So I scolded them and got them back in line, all faced the same way. Why they listened to me, I'll never know. We finally voted and came up with a winner and a runner-up. And I thought you'd like to know they're both here tonight. Will the winner of the tush contest please stand up?
I was working 4 to 12. I'm innocent. Come on,
Where's
bud.
Joe? And where's the runner-up? Don't be
Come on,
shy.
bud. Come on,
Come on,
bud.
Chief Carroll. Shortly after that, Tom Delaney approached me and said, "Phil, you're drunk." I replied, "I know exactly what I'm doing, and I'm not drunk."
Yes, you were.
He looked at me and said, "That's what they all say." So I said, "I'll prove it. I'll take a breathalyzer test." So I had my husband drive me to the office, and Tom came over and administered a breathalyzer test. Tom was right, and I sure knew it the next morning. Keep in mind, we were very young, and I know we've all matured and acquired better judgment since then.
Not really.
Whenever an ambulance is dispatched to an address in the township, an officer also responds to assist. There was a period of time when a number of the ambulance calls didn't have, shall we say, a good ending. It seems Corporal Fazio was the responding officer on most of the assists during that time. As a result, I've typed up instructions and posted them in dispatch. They read, "If you hear an ambulance being dispatched to my address and Corporal Fazio is on duty, please call LP." I've kept some of the notes the guys have written to me over the years. I especially like this one. Phyllis, this plant needs plenty of TLC, also light and water. If used for medicinal purposes, it will do wonders for your consciousness. Hope this makes up for forgetting the flowers on Secretary's Day. Signed, the guys. P.S. Any questions, ask the investigation unit. Other correspondence I found particularly humorous was an email Bob sent, dated September 16th, 2009. To all employees, Deputy Chief Mabry, Mrs. Madden, and I will be going to Quantico, Virginia, for Sergeant Kelly's National Academy graduation. We will leave at approximately 10 a.m. on Thursday and be back Friday evening. Sergeant Hallman, actually Phyllis, will be acting Chief of Police until we return. We should be available by cell phone, signed Chief Adams. Reply from Joseph Hallman. Phyllis, is it you? I advise I will not be in Thursday and Friday. Reply from Joanne Halaviak. Acting Chief Phyllis, what time are the caterers coming? And can we skip out early both days? Reply from Michael McGettigan. I just called Al Zone. He wants to set up at 11 on Thursday. Did we decide if we want a cash bar or open bar? He's going to come earlier on Friday since we're all leaving at noon. Reply from Mark Wassmer. Open bar, hell. We'll have the credit card, right? Reply from Bob Adams. Sorry, kids, I'll have the card. I'm going off script here. I do remember why Bob drove on the golf course.
It was a good idea at the time.
It was a motor vehicle violation. I'm not exactly sure. Was it a stop sign?
No, it was a helmetless motorcycle.
It was a helmetless motorcycle driver.
You can do it now.
It was dutifully pointed out to me by Sergeant Hall. Who made me go after him.
And Bob thought this was serious enough that when the motorcycle drove on the golf course that he should do the same thing.
Yes. I did.
I understand the patrol car looked like the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. It went up on both ends. I leave police administration in the good hands of Joanne, Carol, and Sandy. Joanne was a quick learner, except for speaking up. It took a very long time, but she finally found her voice and I'm sure there's no turning back now. Carol is a hard worker and is willing to help wherever she can. Detectives are indebted to her for all the work she does for them. Joanne and Carol keep the information flowing between police administration, patrol detectives, and the courts. And Sandy takes charge in dispatch. When she's not directing calls and dealing with the public, she tells us where to go. I have truly enjoyed working with everyone and feel like you are my second family. We've worked hard and laughed hard. As the song goes, I wouldn't have missed it for the world. It was a great ride. I've learned a lot and made a lot of good friends, and love you all. Thank you.